Hello, everybody, and welcome to Right from the Kickoff with your host, Joe Wright, and also co-host, William Bayliss. How are you doing, Will?
I'm all good, thank you. Excited for a new season. Obviously, your season's already started, hasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it has. All about Leicester City at the moment, not doing so great, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Just before we get started, this season's going to be a new season. Me and Will are going to be trying to do a podcast every week to keep you guys updated. We are on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok. So if you can follow us on all those socials after this podcast has come out, that'd be great. I just want to get straight into it, Will, from a Forest fan's perspective, really, to start off, because obviously Forest have been in the headlines pretty much all summer. You think about the Morgan Gibbs-White saga and the owner Marinakis. You think about which European competition they were going to be in. Obviously, it was announced this week that Forest will be playing in the Europa League because of Palace's ownership issues with John Textus, I believe. So, what's your opinions? What's your natural reaction after hearing that news? I bet you're thrilled, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously, I am thrilled. Obviously, the better competition, better opponents, more revenue. I do feel sorry for Palace, though, in that the rules are flipping stupid when you have a look at Man City, Chelsea, so many different examples, even Forest. And like the blind trust is a like is a so when Forest thought they were going to get into the Champions League, they might have been facing a PR cost, so they put their money into. Marinakis went into a blind trust, and Crystal Palace didn't do that because obviously we didn't expect to win the FA Cup. But I do
So,
feel sorry for them.
sorry,
But
so,
on the other
sorry,
hand, yeah,
sorry to interrupt, Will. Just quickly. So, what you're saying is Marinakis did what John Textor should have done, just so our viewers
yeah,
understand.
yeah. Well, it was obvious that he had influence on both. He said it himself. I mean, I don't think he's the bright spot. I feel sorry for Palace fans. What I don't feel sorry for is blaming Forest for anything when really it's their own ownership fault and the rules are stupid in themselves. The only thing Forest did questionably was asking the question whether this is allowed, but that wouldn't have had any implications on it anyway because it was already been spoken about prior to that. If it would be an issue, so they've already started investigating it. And second of all, Forest had to know for what competition they were going to be in because, as we're seeing, and soon as it's been announced, Forest have the capabilities of signing extra players because they're going to get extra revenue, so they can counter for that. So it's completely understandable that they had to know for like financially and to know what to prepare for. So on a Forest end, I'm happy. I feel sorry for Palace, but I think the animosity has been amplified by the media so much more. And I think there's like with anything in life, there's so much miscommunication and misunderstanding across the board, and people just want to jump on a headline.
Yeah, of course. I think obviously as a Leicester fan, I was hoping that you weren't going to get Europa League and you were going to get Conference.
It's funny you
However,
say that, Joe, because like as a Forest fan, when Leicester are in the Champions League, we're really happy for you. But it just shows that Leicester think you're more rivals with us, and we
no,
we
I
we
mean,
just want you to do well.
no. This is what Forest fans do all the time, right, guys? This is what they do. Oh, we don't care about you. We don't care about you, whilst also talking about you 24/7 and be like, oh, we don't care. We're so happy for you, whilst also seething inside. Forest fans have this very, very good ability of basically saying, we don't care about anybody. You don't bother us. Oh, Derby are our rivals. All this rubbish. Yeah,
I
in
I have
life.
a perfect I have a perfect example of that, Joe. Actually, the other day I was in Nottingham, near the corner house, just walking along. This guy was just sat down. No one was bothering wearing a Leicester shirt. That wouldn't have happened if he was wearing a Derby shirt. He would not be seen in it. And this is what I mean.
Look, I'm not saying our rivalry is more intense at all. Obviously, Derby and Forest is the more intense rivalry. We know this. We already know this. I'm not going to get. We've had this discussion many a time, so we already know that. But what I will say is to say there is no rivalry that exists, I think is
Yeah,
just
I
very arrogant. Is very arrogant and he's very
arrogant.
obtuse of you. To be fair.
I thought it was very acute of me, actually.
Yeah.
But
By the way, guys, just so you know, with using those big words, you can tell which one of us is the Leicester fan and which one of us is the Forest fan because it's taken Will a bit of time to understand what I've just said.
yeah, even though I have to help you with loads of assignments in uni, did I do
Oh
it?
yeah. Of course, yeah, of course. Anyway, moving on. So I just want to also, how do you think Forest are going to do this season in the Premier League? Obviously, had a tremendous season last season. Nobody in the footballing world can deny that. Not as good as Leicester's in 2016, but still a very good season. Where do you want to progress?
Well, I think my opinion of how the season's going to go is very much dependent on who we're going to sign. We've been linked with a lot of players, uh, high quality players like Amari Hutchinson and a few highly talented French players as well, and also Makaty. So if we get those players through the door, I can see us having a good season. But at the moment, we don't have enough squad depth. For example, fullbacks we only have two, and then if one of them gets injured, especially with the extra games which are going to come up with the European competition, I think we need the extra squad depth in order to
Well,
compete in both competitions.
it's interesting you should say that, Will, because in terms of the amount of games you guys are going to have to play, because I read a stat online earlier, which is something like between like in the early part of the season, there's a 99-day period that if you progress in all the competitions, you might have to play 28 games over that 99-day period, which in 100 days, 28 games is just insane, isn't it? It is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So we'll see how Forest get on with that. We're just going to move on now. We just want to do, because it's obviously the inaugural first episode of the season, top four and relegation in the Premier League. What are we thinking, Will, here? Do you want to go for your top four first?
Yeah, my top four in no particular order yet because it very much depends on a multitude of factors. Like Chelsea had a really good pre-season winning the Club World Cup, but is a lack of pre-season going to harm them throughout the season? But they have been signing a shed ton of players again. But in no particular order, I think it'll be Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal. But
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I can't disagree with that. So I'm gonna go. I'll put my top four right now. I'm happy to nail my kind of flag to the mast, so to speak. Um, Liverpool first, Man City second, Arsenal third, and Chelsea fourth, in my opinion.
okay, do you want me to give you my rundown? Because I've
Go
just
on.
thought of what I want to say. Because I think it'll be Liverpool to win it,
Yeah.
Chelsea second,
Interesting. Yeah, go on.
Man City third, and Arsenal fourth. I think
Yeah,
Liverpool have recruited the best so far,
I
arguably.
mean, let's just
But also Chelsea have as well.
let's just touch on that then. The recruitment of Liverpool, especially. They brought in Ekatike. They brought in Kirkez. They brought in Verts, obviously. They've brought in
Frimpong?
Frimpong. Who else have they brought in? I'm just trying to think. Have they brought anyone else in? They
Uh,
are in talks to. They are in talks and advancing talks to also bring in Gahey as well, which I think would be a top signing. So,
yeah, and also they've Isaac wants to join as well, which is a whole different topic.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. But I mean, and that's the team that won the league. Will, do you know what I mean? That's the team that won the league, and they're looking to strengthen. Obviously, doing a good job with that. I think Chelsea, like you say, have brought well so far. You look, they've got Pedro in. Is it
He
João
looks
Pedro?
really good from Brighton.
Obviously, Liam Delap, which I think at 30, you can say what you want about him being Ipswich, but at 30 million in this day and age for a striker who got double digits in the Premier League last season is a steal. So I can see
They've
that.
got Tilap as well. What's your thoughts? How do you think he's going to do?
Yeah, well, I was just saying, Delap, he did really well for Ipswich last season, and double digits. So a good signing, and it just depends on how. And because obviously I know Enzo a little bit more than most, with him being the former Leicester manager. Just depends on how Enzo fits him into his system, because obviously we know that Enzo likes patient build up. So it's going to be interesting. Delap is going to be making a lot of runs that aren't going to be found just because Enzo likes to take his time. Arsenal, are they under pressure this season?
Yeah, that's why I said they're going to finish fourth. And I almost said they weren't even going to finish in the top four altogether. I know they've had a really good last few seasons, but I think a lot of teams around them have strengthened, and I think they've just been left slightly behind.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm also not a massive fan of the Gyökeres signing. I really am not. I don't think he is necessarily the answer. He went. He obviously I first saw him when he played for Coventry at the King Power. He then went to Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, he's done amazingly well there. But you're telling me that a striker that was worth, in the Championship and was doing well. Don't get me wrong, but we're not talking kind of Haaland numbers. And I know that Arsenal are a better team, but it doesn't really inspire me that much that everybody else is like, oh my God, they've got Gyökeres, because of course he did amazingly well at Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how Arsenal do this season. So those are our
Man
top
City,
four then. How about Man
go
City,
on.
sorry.
No, yeah, Man
No, after you
City.
two.
Do you think they'll bounce back?
I think if Haaland has, even though Haaland did score a lot of goals, he wasn't arguably on form for his standards. So if he rekindles his form, what we saw in the first season, I think the Premier League are going to be in trouble again.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think it was nice to have a bit of a. But you look at the last, sort of 5, 6 years, it's been dominated by Man City and Liverpool, hasn't it? Liverpool
I
now
think the
have two
interesting with
titles.
Man City is how they'll begin life without De Bruyne as well.
Yeah, of course, because we've not touched upon that. We may look like we're just touching upon certain subjects, but we've got all season to talk about a lot of different subjects. So there's no need to delve into everything. So we're going to go on to our relegation predictions now. I'm going to go first, if that's
What?
okay, Will,
Yeah.
on this
Before
particular
you
one.
say that, do you think all of the bottom three sorry, all of the teams who got promoted are going to go straight back down again, or are you going for a different?
No, I'm going for something different. So I've got Burnley in my bottom three. I've got Sunderland in my bottom three.
Yeah.
And I've got Brentford in my bottom three.
Oh, I almost went Brentford, you know. I think that's a very good shout. It just depends how the new manager does. But they have lost a lot of good assets as well.
Yeah. Okay, go on then. What's your bottom three?
Interesting that we're agreed on two of those, Sunderland and Burnley. I think they're splashing a lot of cash. I think it's going to be a very competitive league this year. You don't think so?
I'm saying it with a bit of a biased head on. Obviously, my team have just tried to compete in the Premier League and got absolutely trounced, but we look awful in the Championship anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, but
carry on.
there's been a lot of cash splashed around. I know Sunderland have sold Bellingham, which recouped a lot of the money, so they probably have a bit more leeway. But I think there's, I think it's so hard without seeing how they're going to play because yes, you say Forest spent a lot of money and signed a lot of players when they first came up, but it did work. But I think this season's going to be a stronger season than it was last year because last
I
year it was a bit of a
I agree. Well, it's been poor the last 2 seasons. Let's not kid ourselves. Um,
yeah. I
you
think
know, the only
the season where Forest, Fulham, and Bournemouth went up, that was like all of the promoted teams stayed up, and that was like unheard of. And since
yeah,
then, it's been all relegated. I think it
yeah,
gave all the other teams a bit of a wake up call to say, "Oh, we better
we
sort
better
our
start
stuff
doing
out."
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, I hope. I mean, I know this sounds weird to say, but I hope one of them stay up because I just think it gives
yeah, I
hope
agree.
to the championship teams. You can't have
Mm,
because if it let's say, I mean, this is a conversation for a different time, but just to briefly touch on it. Um, let's say that for a third year running, all three of those teams do come back down, then I think the Premier League have got a real problem. And we could dedicate a whole show to why that is a problem. You look at the financial side of things.
mm.
It's basically a 17-team league at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And the gap's just getting wider and wider, isn't it? That's
Oh,
why
massively
teams
so.
have to
Yeah.
feel like they have to spend and spend, and then they get into financial trouble because they just can't compete.
Look, I mean, you look at my boys and Southampton. We were out of the league for one season and we went from competing every week. Yes, we had an atrocious season in 21-22, but nowhere near as atrocious as the season last season. We got 26 points, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah, it's just atrocious.
Yeah, I had a few opinions when Leicester first got relegated in, was it 21-22 or 2021? It was one of those.
Yeah, 20,
But
21, 22, yeah.
yeah,
No,
my
20,
opinion is
22,
that,
23, sorry, 22, 23.
yeah, my opinion is that I think they got complacent and then they let their standards slip. They think, oh no, we're too good to get relegated. Not only the team, the media, and the fans. And it's really from the outside you can see it happening, but when you're in that bubble, I know from personal experience, it's very hard to get that external viewpoint.
Yeah, I agree. I think my genuine concern, and you'll know this from us being long time friends. So we were obviously chatting and everything, and I was concerned probably in about game week 7 or 8, wasn't I? I
Yeah,
think I'm more of a realist fan, and yeah, I think I essentially I said we're in trouble here, and you were like, no, you'll be all right. And then I think as the game, I think what killed us because actually going into the World Cup break, because if you remember that season, the World Cup was in Qatar.
mm.
We actually picked up some really good form, and then coming back after the World Cup, we just couldn't get any points. So yeah, and that kind of was
Yeah.
a
Of course,
catalyst.
that was the season where we beat you in the FA Cup as well, and that's when I said like this isn't a good Leicester side.
No, actually,
They're
it was
very in
the
trouble here.
It was the yeah. That's you're right. Yeah, you beat us 4-1, and yeah, we really struggled. I think that was the season before. Actually, was that not the season before we went down? Because
It
you got
was
promoted.
yeah.
It
I
was
might have got
yeah. Because you
it was
beat
the
us while
COVID times. It was a different
you
time.
you beat us whilst you were a championship side, if you remember.
Yeah,
The year
that's
before.
right. Yeah,
So yeah, you could just tell, but you could tell that things were going the wrong way, and you just look how far we've fallen now. But anyway, we've sidetracked a little bit. It's
digress.
only 20
So,
minutes in, and the
yeah,
first time it's happened.
did I end up saying my bottom three? Yeah. Uh, so just in case you didn't hear before, uh, my bottom three was Sunderland, Burnley, and Wolves. What's your opinion on that one?
I I disagree. I think Wolves are going to be too good. I think they had some really good form last year. I think they've still got some good players. I know they've lost Cunha, but I just think that the way he got them playing, I don't think Cunha was as vital as people think he was. I don't get me wrong, he's a good player and he was very good, but I just don't buy into the fact that they were kind of a one man team, which they were being billed as. So I mean, don't get me wrong. You might be right. I might eat my words, but no, I don't think. I don't think particularly that is something to consider. I'm pretty happy with my bottom three, to be honest. I can see. I like how we've got Leeds both to stay up. Interestingly,
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think they've recruited quite well, and I know they're linked with Calvert-Lewin as well, which if he finds some kind of form, I mean, I used to like him when he was younger at Everton. It's just can he rekindle some kind of form for them because he's lost his favour in the last few years, hasn't he?
yeah, but it's interesting. I only saw that news break today. To be fair, and like you say, it's an interesting one. Calvert Lewin at one point was kind of your backup striker to Harry Kane. He was that good,
Mm.
and he's just kind of fallen off. But I don't think, like you say, the injuries have helped, have they? So we'll see how that goes for
Mm.
we'll see how that goes for him. Yeah. So I just want to get your opinion, Will, on something actually. Um, Obviously, we've talked about Forest. We've talked about kind of how you feel like they're going to do in the league. What What's your opinion on the saga that was Morgan Gibbs White and Marinakis? I know that's kind of segueing a little bit, but what was your opinion?
I, I think I think it's my opinion is that it's very hard to form a full opinion without knowing the full facts, and I think there's been a lot of like on everything with football. There's so much more happening behind the scenes than we actually know. That's a cop-out answer, but from the outset, it looked like he was going to join. This has been a wild summer, I have to say. Uh,
Yeah,
looked like he was
he's
going to
just
join
thinking back.
Tottenham. It happened very quickly, and then very quickly everything unraveled, and then he signed a new contract with Forest.
Yeah,
And in the
yeah.
video, he was
Signed.
very
By
confident.
the way, guys,
Yes.
signed. He signed a new contract. This is what he was doing. If you're looking at me on the screen, this is what he was doing, right there. Sign that contract. Sign that contract. That's what Marinakis was doing straight away.
Uh, I I know from it's so hard because before the season, he was very much all Forest fans loved him. I went to the England Senegal game, and obviously most of it because it was played at the City Ground. A lot of Forest fans were there, and the response from Morgan Gibbs White was a silver lining on that because that England game was terrible. Um, and yeah, I was there. Um, uh, but I think when the news broke that he was going to sign for Tottenham, a lot of Forest fans were like really annoyed, really upset with him. Like I understand why you'd want to go, but from what I know is that Marinakis convinced him, probably gave him a nice, healthy paycheck. Just had a congratulations to him, by the way. It's just his wife's just given birth to the second child today. Um,
Yeah, he's like,
but yes,
here's
I think.
here's your paycheck. Oh, by the way,
Go
there's
on.
also a little white note that's got a threat on it as well.
Yeah, it did look very strange, I have to say, but I don't think there was any real threats there. I think the only real threat was the legal dispute with Tottenham, but I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
was all talk personally because it was all like, but knowing Marilaki, he might have actually done it. Uh, but
That's it. That's
yeah, I'm happy that he stayed. I think Forest fans have now forgiven him. I mean, from a Forest perspective, we're just happy that we have an owner who cares. Have a look at throughout so many football clubs where the owner look at Sheffield Wednesday, their owner doesn't give a crap. Like so many look Morecambe, like Hartlepool, like so many of it. So we're just happy that he wants to progress the team. He does actually genuinely care. Like he wants us
Yeah,
to do well, and that's what we wonder. I think that's how you get the fans on side, showing that you care. Like I
yeah,
know with your owner, you've had issues lately.
yeah, yeah. I think it's weird because at one stage with our owner, we we were definitely in the camp of he's one of the best owners in the country, if not the best owner. Especially, we had some bad luck with the fact that our owner now is obviously his father was running the club. He's now passed away, VJ, rest in peace. But ever since that happened, I think Top, who's his son, has really been struggling, and I just don't think he's got the right men in charge. It's kind of him and John Rudkin, our director of football, who is just an absolute melt. He's an absolute melt, and he just, I mean,
You
no
say why?
communication.
Or
Well,
like,
no communication, no qualifications. Like, don't get me wrong, right? So,
do you need
um,
qualifications to be an owner?
no, I'm not saying the owner. I'm saying John Rudkin to get in the position that he was in. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. So, John Rudkin started basically in the kit room and worked his way up through the club. Obviously, he became the director of football, I think, in about 2012, maybe a little bit after that. It might have been sort of 2015, maybe after the Great Escape season. So his first season, obviously, we then went on to win the league. Um, but it's just been ever since kind of, I would say, after the FA Cup win, things just started going downhill. You look in big contracts, um, the likes of Ryan Bertrand, for example, Yannick Vestergaard. I know he's currently in the team and everything, but yeah, I think he's. It's just going to be interesting. But I just think that the way the club's being ran isn't great, and the way that
Mm.
we expect everything to be done, it's just disappointing as fans. Do you know what I mean? It's just disappointing. That just brings me on as
Yeah.
well. I mean, how do you think Leicester have started this season? I know obviously you're not a Leicester fan, but got a 2-1 win against Sheffield
I
Wednesday.
think last minute. I think I know a lot of your top players are linked with moves elsewhere, aren't they? Um, but you're my hot
Just
take for
bear
today.
with me, Will. Keep talking. Just bear with me a second. Just keep talking.
My hot take is that I don't think Leicester are going to get promoted. I think they're going to really struggle. I think that's always a danger when you don't bounce back and get promoted straight away. And oh no, it was the first season to get promoted. It was, yeah, but yeah, I think they're gonna really struggle, and I think that's gonna cause them quite a bit of pain. And I think they'll probably finish in the playoffs, but obviously they lost to Huddersfield in the Carling Cup, not the Carling Cup, the Carabao Cup yesterday, and they scraped a win against a very, very weak and down and jumps Sheffield Wednesday side. So I think time will tell. I think if they recruit well, they'll do well, but I don't know. I think they'll really struggle, and that reminds me, if you guys, whoever's listening, if
Yeah,
you
I'm
disagree,
listening.
agree with anything, let us know down in the comments, and we'll love to have that conversation. I hear
Um,
Joey's back now. You're right, Joe.
I'm back. To be honest with you, I was just chasing a cat out because, and we all know that I can't have any cats in my house. As much as I personally love the cat, well, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, thank you for filling in there
Yeah,
for me,
I
Will.
know what
Sorry
you.
about that, guys. But yeah, I think just going quickly back to the Leicester thing. I know
Did
you
you
just
hear what
kind
I
of
said?
touched on. Yeah, I did briefly, but yeah, I tend to agree. I know that sounds shocking. I think we are going to struggle to get promoted this season. I was very confident going
It's
into the
so funny you
season.
say that because yeah, you were last week before a ball had been kicked. Joe was like, "I think Leicester are going to get finished top. They're gonna win the league." And what a difference a week makes, eh?
Yeah, I think to be honest, that difference is actually seeing us play, and you remember how crap your team is. Yeah, I but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping at the end of the day we've won one, we've lost one, but not in the league. We lost to Huddersfield the other day. Hi guys, we just had a bit of a technical glitch, so we're back. Just to wrap up what we said about Leicester City, yeah, I agree with what you were saying regarding the potential of us getting promoted. I think seeing what we've got available, I think we need to rebuild, and we need a season where we can rebuild and really progress. However, whether that progression, we still don't know about any points deductions. Do you know what I mean? So
That's a big factor as well.
there's a lot of off the field things going on that we need to be aware of. To be honest, that was about it really, just to kind of round out the show. Thanks for joining me, Will, once again. We're going to be doing a lot of content over the year. I think we both said that we're going to be trying to do a lot of content. Obviously, I've already done a couple of TikTok videos based on my thoughts on Leicester, Forest, and just what we're going to be doing in the channel. So if you want to follow us on TikTok, it's the same handle as you search for on YouTube. We're on Instagram, we're on X, and also TikTok. So if
And
you,
Facebook.
what you say?
And Facebook.
And Facebook, of course. I forget about Facebook. That's the first thing we set up, I believe, wasn't it? So yeah, it's right from the kickoff. WRIGHT. So yeah, let's get going. Let's get some content moving, and let's get your opinions. And also, if you want to come on and have your say, we're more than happy for that to happen, aren't we, Will? We've had
Yeah,
some
and
guests in the past.
yeah, and like I was saying before, if you have your opinions, let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear them. But before we wrap up, we just have one more thing to say. Come on, Forest.
Come on, you foxes! Come on!
See you next time, everyone.
See you next time, guys.